did it on purpose. Archie and Lily have finally been unmasked.
Her Royal Highness, despite the fact that she and Harry stepped away from their royal...
They want to give the illusion of the perfect family, but then, of course, you know, they don't want you to know what their children look like.
The palace just did something nobody saw coming. After years of people whispering, gossiping, tearing the internet apart with wild theories about Harry and Meghan's kids, after every headline, every shady comment, every YouTube investigation, Buckingham Palace finally snapped. They broke their silence. And when an institution that usually moves slower than a glacier suddenly speaks up, honey, you know something huge just went down. This wasn't some boring, polished statement with stiff upper lips and royal manners. No, they came in swinging sharp, calculated, straight for the throat. What they said about Archie and Lilibet is about to flip everything upside down. Because this time, it didn't come from the tabloids, it came from inside those palace walls. And now, both sides, the royals and the Montecito duo, are bracing for a showdown that could change everything. So buckle up, because this story, oh, it gets wild. Archie Mountbatten Windsor was born on the 6th of May, 2019. And from the very first moment, something was different. Not the usual royal wave from the hospital steps kind of different. Not the smiling, picture-perfect Windsor baby kind of different. I mean total lockdown. Harry and Meghan made it crystal clear they wanted privacy. And at first, everyone got it. The world remembered what the media did to Diana, what Harry had lived through since childhood. Of course, they wanted to protect their kids. People understood. They nodded. They sympathized. But then that privacy didn't just stop. It turned into a fortress. No guest list for christenings. No hospital photos. Hardly any glimpses, except those perfectly staged, carefully approved shots. The royal playbook was thrown in the bin. No balcony waves, no family wedding moments, nothing. Those kids were invisible, and people noticed. And listen, every parent has the right to protect their children. But when you're part of the most famous family on the planet, complete invisibility doesn't sit right with the public. Questions began, innocent ones at first. When will we see them? Why aren't they at events? But when those questions got no answers, curiosity turned into suspicion.
Their resentment for not having money for protection, that's it.
And you know how the internet is. It doesn't take long before a spark becomes a wildfire. Suddenly, theories started flying everywhere. Where were they really born? Some swore it was Frogmore Cottage. Others insisted on Portland Hospital. People dissected birth certificates, hospital records, timestamps, everything. Why were the birth details vague? Why was the certificate altered? Why did they never show up for royal events like Trooping the Color or Sandringham Christmas? Royal forums exploded. YouTube channels launched entire series about it. Twitter threads ran hundreds of tweets, long zooming into shadows on photos, tracking private jet routes, comparing timelines. It got intense. People were acting like detectives solving a mystery that didn't have clues. And through all of this, the palace stayed dead silent. Not a word, not a denial, nothing. They clung to their sacred rule. Never complain, never explain. But that silence, oh, it made everything worse. Because instead of dying down, the rumors grew like weeds. One theory debunked, 3 more popped up. The royal silence wasn't noble anymore. It looked suspicious.
I think a lot of this is just for cameras. The popping up of apparently...
The breaking point came when the children themselves stopped being seen as kids. They became puzzles. Mysteries that had to be solved. And that's when the palace finally realized their silence wasn't protecting anyone, it was feeding the beast. After years of staying quiet, they admitted its silence had backfired. It didn't protect Archie and Lilibet. It made people believe there was something to hide. And that's when things changed. Buckingham Palace decided to speak. And when they do that, after years of deafening quiet, you know they mean business. They didn't issue a dull press release this time. No. They sent a senior official, one of those shadowy figures you never see, who suddenly briefs off the record. And when the palace says off the record, it's royal code for, we're about to spill tea but pretend we didn't. That official admitted they'd been watching everything. Every tweet, every YouTube video, every conspiracy theory. They'd been quietly tracking it all for years, a digital storm, they called it. Every crazy rumor, every post cataloged. They weren't ignoring the chaos, they were documenting it.
Everything she's done has only drawn more speculation and brought the controversy.
And then came the confession that shook everyone. The palace officials said they'd made a mistake. Keeping things private, thinking silence would protect the children, had completely blown up in their faces. The quote that echoed across the world was simple but sharp. There comes a point where silence no longer protects the children, it feeds the speculation. That hit hard, because suddenly, it wasn't about Harry and Meghan anymore, it was about those kids, caught in a public storm they never asked for. Then came the official line. There is nothing unusual about their identity. The public simply hasn't seen as much as they expected, and that was a choice made by their parents. Simple, right? Wrong. The internet tore it apart. People read between every single word. Was the palace subtly blaming Meghan and Harry? Were there fights behind the scenes? Why the vagueness? The official dodged all that, which told everyone everything. They even threw some shade across the Atlantic, saying some of the wildest theories didn't start in the UK, but from a certain American PR-style influence. Translation, they were blaming Meghan's Hollywood-style media control. That was a bold jab. Then came the mic drop. The children are unquestionably members of the royal family. And that is the end of the matter. Except it wasn't. Because those words leaked and the internet exploded. People weren't satisfied. They were furious. If there's nothing strange, why did it take years to say this? Why the secrecy? Why the hesitation? The palace thought they were calming things down, but they'd just poured gasoline on the fire. Morning shows across the world treated it like breaking news. Reporters, analysts, body language experts, all speculating what the end of the matter really meant. One journalist said it felt like trying to put toothpaste back in the tube. Another called it a royal shrug. And behind closed doors, total panic. Some palace aides said King Charles was furious that things had gotten so out of control. William, on the other hand, wanted the rumors shut down months ago. One source quoted him saying, "If we don't handle it now, we won't be able to at all." He was tired of chaos, especially when it touched his kids. But over at Montecito, Meghan's team went into crisis mode. The palace, speaking up, threw off her entire strategy. For years, she'd controlled her own narrative. But now, the palace had taken back the mic. PR calls went out instantly, journalists, influencers, friendly outlets all being briefed with her side of the story. Quiet leaks, subtle context drops, whispers meant to shift the narrative. Classic Meghan playbook. But Harry, he was done. Exhausted. Sources close to him said he'd sighed, "I can't keep doing this." And that's when a royal cousin, not a famous one, but close enough to count, decided to drop one cryptic line to a journalist. "There are things the public doesn't know. And if they did, they'd realize the palace has been more patient than anyone can imagine." Oh, that line was dynamite. Within an hour, it was everywhere. What didn't we know? What had the palace been hiding? People lost their minds. TikTok, Twitter, YouTube flooded. Back in the palace, chaos again. The cousin wasn't authorized to say a word. Senior staff were livid. But William? He stayed calm and said just one sentence, "Let it breathe." Those 3 words said everything. It meant he was done protecting his brother and Meghan. Done pretending everything was fine. Done playing the quiet game. And then came the twist nobody expected. A royal insider said the palace was preparing a timeline. You could hear jaws dropping across the newsroom. Because in royal terms, a timeline isn't just notes. It's receipts. Dates, meetings, letters, messages, proof, cold, chronological, irrefutable. And the insider added, "If the Sussexes push this further, the timeline will be released." That was the warning shot. Back off or we'll expose everything. The rumor was that this timeline included every invitation extended to see the kids, every visit canceled last minute, every olive branch ignored, every piece of proof showing who really shut the door. And if that ever went public, Meghan's entire narrative could crumble overnight. That's when Harry hit his wall. He told people quietly, "I can't keep doing this." He wasn't angry anymore, just broken. Then the palace made one final move, another statement cold as ice. "We've protected them for years. We won't keep protecting them if it harms the institution." That was it. The gloves were off. After that, the palace went dark. No more leaks, no more press. Total lockdown. The silence wasn't peace, it was war prep. Everyone knew it. Meanwhile, Meghan couldn't take it anymore. She broke the cardinal rule of PR, she went live. On her phone. No filters, no media team, just her, talking about being a mother, crying about the pain of seeing people question her children's existence. It was raw, emotional, and for a moment, people almost felt for her. Almost. Because within minutes, the palace responded with just 5 words. "We remain committed to accuracy." That line sliced through everything. Accuracy meant records. Records meant the timeline. The palace was reminding everyone we have receipts. Suddenly, Meghan looked emotional, reactive. The palace looked composed, unbothered. One side was crying, the other was calculating. It was brutal optics and Meghan knew it. Behind closed doors, the palace was already preparing what they called public factual clarity measures. Translation: if Meghan pushes again, they'll release the full truth. Every document, every date, every lie exposed. Sources said Meghan broke down in private, realizing this wasn't some tabloid fight, this was Buckingham Palace, the institution that could destroy reputations with facts. Now, both sides are frozen in a silent standoff. The palace has its loaded weapon, that timeline, and Meghan's team is scrambling, unsure what to do next. The calm right now? It's not peace. It's the pause before the next explosion. Because one thing is certain, the palace made it clear. If protecting Harry and Meghan means harming the crown, they'll protect the crown every single time. And that's the line drawn in royal marble. So, what happens next? Does Meghan fight back? Does Harry finally walk away? Or does the palace drop those icy royal receipts? We'll find out soon. Because this story, oh, darling, it's far from over. And as if fate was mocking the royals, right when everyone thought it might finally calm down, the whispers started again, only this time they were sharper, darker, more personal. Rumors about secret meetings, private deals, and hidden arrangements spread like wildfire. The palace tried to act unbothered, but people could feel the tension building behind those golden gates. Cameras flashed, reporters camped outside Windsor, and every blink, every glance between senior royals was analyzed like a coded message. Meghan's silence now felt louder than ever, and Harry's absence from public life only deepened the mystery. Everyone's waiting for the next move. Will the palace swing the sword and drop the timeline, or will Meghan risk everything to control her own story again? The world's holding its breath, because one thing's for sure, this royal drama is nowhere near finished.